Good day, everyone. Greetings to you wherever it is that you are. I am Reverend Deborah Johnson with the Inner Light Spiritual Community in the Santa Cruz area. And I am so delighted to have with me at this moment a sister of the cloth, a friend, and someone I hold in really high esteem, Rabbi Paula Marcus, who is with Temple Beth El, our sister spiritual community, literally just a few blocks away, right down the street. Greetings, Rabbi. How are you doing?
I am so excited to be here with you, Rev D. Any opportunity, Reverend Deb, that we get to work together, no matter what we're doing, is delight. I always feel inspired by you. So I'm really grateful for this invitation.
Thank you. And I so feel the exact same way. You know, our communities have done quite a bit of social justice work together. And I'm so pleased that you are involved with us in this new virtual engagement that Inner Light has launched. Hashtag Visions Igniting. Hashtag Visions Igniting, sharing what it is that we do want to see. You know, we had a wonderful workshop at the temple maybe about 2 years or so ago now, pulled by Vision, where maybe a year and a half. It's been, I know, over a year, but we had a chance to get our communities together and to take a look at some of the big social issues of the day and to see what is it that we were saying about these things, and are the things that we are saying really consistent with our highest values and what it is that we really want to see. And it was apparent that there was such a gap between what it is that we were putting out as public discourse and what it is we actually wanted to happen. And we were encouraging people to close that gap. And that's what we're doing now. Can you share with us a little bit about why it's so important that we focus our attention not just on what we don't want to see, but we allow our attention to go on what we do want to see?
I think that your inspiring words about this have actually helped me personally quite a bit. I just want to say that because I do think, you know, us Jews oftentimes can fetch and moan about all the problems that we see in the world. I don't think it's just us Jews, but it is definitely a characteristic. When we were wandering around in the wilderness, there was a lot of, you know, complaining about water and meat and take us to the Holy Land already. But I think it's so beautiful to focus on what is possible and what we are really intending our hearts and our hands and our spirits towards. I was struck by the choice of this week as when we're having this conversation, because, you know, Jews read different stories in the Bible every week. Christians do too. And we go from the beginning of creation all the way through the Torah and the first 5 books of Moses. And so last week was the story of creation. And this week we've got the story of Noah. And oh my gosh, if we ever wondered about it, Noah is proof that we all come from the same human family. Yes. We are all descendants of the same, of the one, right? And it's such a universal, beautiful, beautiful story. And really, when you look at it, you know, you see that it's a story of rebirth and potential. Yes. Because what happens, right? This family goes into this ark, this womb, and they go floating on the ocean, and there's a big storm, and they're protected and safe, and they're caring for each other, and they're caring for the creatures, right? Yeah. They're taking care of all the animals, right? And this rebirth potential, as we all know that in the birthing process, we have to breathe, take our breath, and we have to push, as Valerie Kaur teaches us, right? And so this is a moment right now. This is a moment right now. We're in our arks, right? We are floating around in this storm. Yeah. And we are learning what it takes to nourish ourselves, to take a step and breathe and really have a vision of what it will be when we come out of the ark. What is it? Yeah. What is it that we want? What's the potential? It's like a new world is waiting to be born. That's where we are right now. We're in gestation.
Yes.
Right. We are learning how to breathe and push.
It's so true.
That's
pain pushes. until vision pulls. Pain pushes until vision pulls. You know, maybe your addiction gets you into recovery, but if you're only focusing on your addiction, you'll never get fully into recovery. At some point, the promise of sobriety, at some point, the desire for the new life, what's possible, has to be what takes you over the top. And we're in an environment right now where there's just so much talk about so many things that are going on. And what we fail to realize is that we manifest whatever has our attention. We don't really manifest our prayers. We manifest where our attention is. And if we want our prayers answered, that's what has to have our attention.
Absolutely. And think about it. I mean, this ark metaphor where they're floating around and they don't know what they're going to find when they get out. But they have to have the vision to imagine they're not going to stay in this ark forever and ever. They're going to get out and there's going to be rebirth. And that's where we are right now. And really, what happens after the story? What's the very last part of this biblical teaching? It's this covenant that is represented by the rainbow. That's what we have to think about. We have to act together and be partners in creating the rainbow of diversity, the rainbow of inclusion, radical inclusion. Everybody, every hue of the beautiful rainbow colors. So that to me is, the way that we create the new world is by these kinds of conversations. And, we're going to have conversations with people we don't always agree with because that rainbow's got everybody in it. Let's be honest, right?
Well, of course it does. And the dove brings the olive branch of peace.
Amen, sister.
The dove brings the olive branch of peace. When you're talking about the ark, it reminds me of this cartoon. I just love this cartoon. I first saw it in the Awakening the Dreamer seminar of Pachamama Alliance. I'm on their board of directors.
Yeah.
And it's this picture of these people in this boat. It's kind of a big canoe, kind of a boat. And the boat is tilted because it's starting to sink. You can see there's a hole in the bottom, and the people who are down on that end of the boat are busy bailing the water out. And then you have the people at the top who are looking down, slightly down at the people bailing the water out. And the caption says, "So glad the hole's not on our side of the boat."
Yeah, that's not going to help for too long, is it? That's not the end of that story.
Yes, there's one planet. We're all on it. There's one boat. We're all in it.
Right. And we have to keep inhaling. We have to keep breathing through this gestational moment.
Yeah.
And just really have this vision that we are co-creators of a new world. That's what this time is for right now, when we're in our homes, in our own boats, floating around on this tumultuous ocean. When Noah first sent the first dove that went out, right? That dove did not come back. Mm-hmm. That was a test. That was a test run. We're going to see what happens here. So, we're doing some of that now. We're kind of checking out, what is this? Does this work? What's the strategy here? How do we make this work? How does this happen? How will we emerge in this new, beautiful world together? And, we're getting ready to send that next dove out, right? We are.
No question about it. And as tough as it is now, our ancestors have seen tough times. I mean, think of all of the things that we've been through: slavery and Holocaust and famines and wars. And oh my God, now is not the time to get faint-hearted.
That's right.
Now is the time to really hold on, because everything is energy. And at this moment right now, you can feel there's so much angst about the election and what's going to happen in COVID and the economy and all of the rest of that. And that just means we have to pull together. It's like when the storm comes or the earthquake comes or like the hurricane comes. That's when you all huddle together. You believe in yourselves,
right?
And you put one foot in front of the other.
Look, we just had the fires here and they're still raging all over our country right now. And what I saw, people were very worried about the virus, but what I saw was people reaching out to each other to do what they could to take care of each other. Now, it shouldn't have to take a catastrophe, but I will say that, just like Noah in the ark, when the storm's raging, we have to hold hands.
Yes.
Metaphorically, hold hands, right?
Hold hands.
That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just like the corona. The corona doesn't care whether you vote red or blue.
Right.
The fire doesn't care whether the people in that house voted red or blue.
Right.
It's one boat. We're in it together. And can we have a vision of all of us coming out on the other side?
Yes. And that's what we are doing.
Yes. This virtual engagement that Innerlight has launched, #VisionsIgniting, sharing what it is we do want to see. I want to invite everybody to get in on the conversation. Just in your social media, in your one-on-one conversations, what is it that you do want to see? There's so many things that are going on, immigration and healthcare, race relations and climate control. And I mean, there's just so many kinds of issues. What is your highest vision of possibility? And why don't you share that with somebody? And Rabbi, I'm going to ask you to just give us a vision of something that burns in your heart.
I think for me, the most important issue that I've been feeling through and working with is really diversity, all kinds of diversity, people who are differently abled, people who come from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, that we are, as you've said, one planet, one people. And to be honest, that's really been the work that I feel the most committed to lately, to listen with an open heart to all of my, folks, all the people that I need to listen to, things that I have to learn and examine within myself around my own issues, and things that I reach to you and to other leaders in our community. And really, it's all about understanding that what happens to one happens to all. Yes. That's the deal. That rainbow is not just a symbol. That rainbow is reality. And when we see it, every time we see it, we can be reminded of our dedication to working for that this is all about what's good for one is good for all. And we can't leave anybody behind. In the rabbinic literature, it says to save a life is to save the world.
Yes.
Each and every one. And so that's really that inclusion and diversity and equity is really where my heart is right now. And I think that's the way we rebuild our world together.
I agree. Yeah, I'd like to share a vision too. I've been thinking a lot about education, but sparked by what you said, I'd like to share a vision I have about governance and self-governance, and particularly the form of governance that we know of as democracy. And I have a vision of democracy as vibrant, as alive, as the best and the highest of civil engagement, where people can come together from diverse backgrounds with different ideas. Like it says in scripture, let us sit down and reason together. When you look at nature is symmetrical. There's a left and a right. And just like a bird, it's the same wing structure, but curved to the right and curved to the left. And it takes that for the aerodynamics. It takes that balance for the liftoff. The right wing's not going anywhere without the left wing.
Right. That's right.
And vice versa. It isn't differences that cause conflict. It's polarization around the differences.
Yes.
That's where the conflict is the polarization. And I have this vision where we don't have to be polarized in order to still be together. There's actually a model that's coming in my head now of Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Judge Scalia. And they were always on opposite sides of every issue, but they were friends.
Yes.
Their families hung out together. They went to the opera together. They were civil, together. And that's a vision that I have and that I keep, that we can work it out.
That's beautiful. And it takes us a level of curiosity. And
Yes.
then we get back to that birthing metaphor where if you keep breathing and you keep breathing and you keep breathing, then you can breathe together.
Yes.
And really that's what connects us, is we all breathe, right? So if we take those times to breathe together and to really know, all right, is this a place where I push a tiny bit? Is this a place where I step back and breathe?
Exactly.
That's the metaphor for me, because that's the way we bring new life, right?
Exactly.
That's the way this is going to be born. And I just have this sense that if we could all connect on that level, we can all connect on the humanity. We are all different, but we all have the same need for breath. We all need to breathe, and we can do that together.
We can do that together. I am so with you.
I feel it, sister.
I'm so with you, And just remember, everybody, labor's not always pretty.
Oh, no, it's messy.
And labor's not always fun. And if you focus on the pain, you'll forget there's actually a baby coming.
You're right.
And you can't judge by the appearances, because if you were to just look at it,
who would ever do it again?
You wouldn't realize that there's actually something incredible that's coming forth. So in this moment right now, let's look beyond the appearances. Let's look beyond the appearances. Let's join together, share your visions, #visions igniting. Spread the word of possibility so that we can recalibrate, elevate our consciousness, and stay fortified for all that's ahead of us. If there's ever a time when we need it, it's right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rabbi, for being with us. I always look forward to working with you. I have wonderful guests that are going to be on with us tomorrow. I'll be on with Reverend Edward Villon, who is the spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living, the religious science of mind denomination. And on Monday, my dear friend and mentor, Michael Bernard Beckwith, will be with us for #Visions Uniting. As we always say in Inner Light, take this consciousness and multiply it. Thank you, Rabbi.
My pleasure. Thank you, Rabbi.
Blessings to you. Shalom.
Shalom.